Some dreams vanish the moment we open our eyes, simple fragments of ordinary life. But others feel like doorways to something far beyond us, sometimes even to the future. In 1999, a little-known illustrator from Japan published a strange, unassuming manga that quietly recorded 15 dreams she claimed to have experienced. One by one, those dreams began to come true. And the most disturbing part? The final dream still hasn't happened. According to the book, it is predicted to occur at exactly 5 a.m. on July 5th, 2025. So what did she see in that last dream? And why has it haunted readers for more than 20 years? Today, we're diving deep into this mystery. So buckle up. And hey, they say if you like and subscribe before this video ends, your luck might just change. On July 1st, 1999, a peculiar comic book appeared in Japan. Its title was simple yet strangely suggestive, The Future I Saw. At the time, almost no one paid attention to it. There was no reason to. The artwork wasn't remarkable, the creator wasn't famous, and the book received zero promotion from any media outlet. Even if someone happened to flip through it, all they would find were odd dream sequences drawn in rough pencil sketches, accompanied by short, handwritten notes in the margins. It looked more like a personal dream diary than a proper manga. Scattered images, sometimes chaotic, sometimes obscure, and occasionally so cryptic that their meaning was nearly impossible to decipher. But everything changed more than a decade later on March 11, 2011. Japan was struck by one of the most devastating disasters in its history. A massive earthquake followed by a towering tsunami that tore through the northeastern coast. More than 15,000 people lost their lives. Tens of thousands went missing. And the world watched in horror as a nation known for its technology and resilience was swallowed by the sea. Amid the confusion and fear of those days, an unexpected discovery sent shockwaves through Japanese online communities. Someone remembered that forgotten manga from 1999, and what they found left the public stunned. 12 years earlier, buried within those pencil-drawn dreams, the artist had sketched a scene that eerily resembled the events of March 11th. Seawater pouring into city streets, tsunami waves crashing inland, and even cryptic numbers like 311 appearing on the cover, almost as if it had been a warning no one understood at the time. The coincidences were too specific, too detailed to dismiss. Thousands of people rushed to find the book. They examined every page, every sketch, every tiny note in the margins, searching for clues, as if the book contained a coded message sent from the future. And what they discovered was even more astonishing. The manga contained 15 prophetic dreams in total. And according to readers who began cross-checking each one, 12 and a half had already come true. When The Future I Saw unexpectedly captured public attention after the 2011 disaster, the first question on everyone's mind in Japan was simple: who created this? But when the spotlight turned to the author, the answer was frustratingly vague. A single, enigmatic name: Tatsuki. A pen name with no verifiable information. No one knew who she really was. Even the publisher had no records to trace her. In a world where nearly everything can be tracked, the fact that a person could vanish completely for more than 2 decades only added to the mystery. As Tatsuki's name spread like wildfire, chaos followed. Countless fake accounts appeared across social media. Imposters claimed to be the real author, published so-called new prophetic dreams, and threw public opinion into confusion. Some suspected it was a deliberate hoax. Others whispered that Tatsuki might not even be a single individual, but an organization, or worse, a creation of hidden forces manipulating belief on a global scale. Then, in October 2023, just as the fascination with her prophecies began to rise again, Tatsuki suddenly re-emerged. She returned by re-releasing the original book, this time complete with detailed explanations. The book, still titled The Future I Saw, was no longer a simple collection of brief dreams. It had become a comprehensive record of everything she had witnessed, everything she had written down, and everything she had carried with her over the years. And with this return, Tatsuki revealed a few personal details. She was born on December 2nd, 1954, in Kanagawa Prefecture, and now resides in the port city of Yokohama. Her childhood was unremarkable, much like millions of other Japanese children growing up in the post-war era. She loved painting, enjoyed singing, and was both dreamy and sensitive. But there was one thing that set her apart. Starting at age 9, she began experiencing dreams unlike those of ordinary people. In these dreams, an old man would appear, his hair silver white, his eyes gentle, his voice slow and calm. He would speak of things yet to come. They would walk together under moonlight, talking in ways that seemed mysterious at the time. The old man whispered secrets and events that Tatsuki would only fully understand many years later. The first dream that truly unsettled her came in 1976. On a November night, she dreamed of a man singing beneath the bright glow of stage lights, only to suddenly collapse as the light blurred and faded. The crowd gasped in shock, and she knew immediately who the man was: Freddie Mercury, the lead singer of Queen. In 1976, Freddie Mercury was at the peak of his career, healthy and vibrant, his voice echoing in stadiums across the world. To predict his death at that moment would have seemed absurd, even laughable. Yet Tatsuki did not dismiss the vision. Quietly, she sketched the dream and carefully recorded it in her journal. 15 years later, on November 24, 1991, the world was shaken by the news. Freddie Mercury had passed away. Television channels aired special reports. Newspapers plastered his image across the front pages. When Tatsuki opened her old journal, she could hardly believe her eyes. It was the first time she felt fear, not of the world, but of herself. Her dreams were no longer just dreams. The deeper chill came when she turned on the TV, not from the news of Freddie's death itself, but from a documentary showing fans preparing a biographical film in his memory. In her 1976 journal, there had been a small sketch, a simple frame of a film crew shooting a scene about a deceased artist. The resemblance was disturbingly precise. Tatsuki tried to tell herself it was mere coincidence, but deep down, she knew better. Coincidences that perfect are rarely accidental. From that point onward, her dreams arrived with increasing regularity, and they began to manifest according to a strange rhythm. Some unfolded 5 years later, some 10, and others exactly 15 years after they were seen. She meticulously documented everything: the settings, sounds, colors, names, times, and even the emotions that accompanied them. One such dream came on August 31st, 1992. She saw herself walking down a long corridor, light streaming through towering windows. At the corridor's end hung a painting of a blonde woman holding a child, with the word Dana written across the canvas. Suddenly, a blinding light flashed, the sound of metal crashing rang out, and the cries of countless people filled her ears. Exactly 5 years later, on August 31st, 1997, the world was stunned once again. Princess Diana had died in a car crash in Paris. Once again, Tatsuki's journal had captured the moment years before, her simple sketches hauntingly precise. From 1995 onward, her prophetic dreams became more frequent and touched on far greater events. Natural disasters, earthquakes, tsunamis, and geological upheavals beyond humanity's control. It was because of this urgency that she began compiling the work the world would one day seek: The Future I Saw. On a winter night in 1995, the old man with silver hair appeared in her dream once more. He led her to a strange land where the earth had split open and the air was thick with the choking scent of stone dust. She awoke with an uncanny sense of foreboding. The next morning, she opened her journal and recorded the dream, dated January 2nd, 1995. She sketched the devastated landscape and wrote a single line beneath it. Something will rupture in 15 days. And exactly 15 days later, on January 17, 1995, the Great Hanshin Kobe earthquake struck. Nearly 6,500 lives were lost, tens of thousands of homes collapsed, and Japan, a country built on order and resilience, was exposed to the full, terrifying force of nature. In that moment, Tatsuki no longer doubted. What she saw could not be coincidence. She believed, with unwavering certainty, that the future was sending her signals. Determined that these warnings could not remain locked in private journals, she compiled her dreams and published the manga The Future I Saw in 1999. Yet almost immediately after its release, Tatsuki vanished once more. Perhaps the story would have ended there, had it not been for one final dream. On a July night in 2021, Tatsuki awoke in a panic. Her breathing was rapid, cold sweat clung to her forehead. She had dreamed of standing alone in a vast field of water beneath a sky the color of ash, with no sunlight breaking through. The sea south of Japan began to bubble violently. From its depths emerged two enormous dragons, twisting and writhing as though tearing at the earth's crust. Then came the sound of an explosion, and silence as the land was swallowed whole. She realized this dream was the continuation of an older vision from 1999, but this time it was far clearer, far more violent. The repetition was impossible to ignore. She could no longer remain silent. And so, in 2023, Tatsuki re-released her book in a complete edition. It included new dreams and, most importantly, a warning. A looming catastrophe that had not yet occurred, but was drawing ever closer. In that dream, Tatsuki stood at an immense height, so high that she could see the entire expanse of the sea south of Japan spread beneath her like a living, three-dimensional map. At first, the ocean appeared unnervingly calm, but within moments, massive pockets of air began rising from the ocean floor, bubbling up like enormous cauldrons churning beneath the Earth's crust. It was the unmistakable sign of an underwater volcano on the verge of eruption. But what seared itself into her memory, what she could never forget, was the emergence of two enormous dragons. They twisted beneath the water's surface, gradually forming from the edges of her vision. Silent, coiling around the center of the rising bubbles, they seemed to guard something hidden beneath the waves. Then, in an instant, a massive column of water erupted from the sea, tearing into the sky and unleashing a tsunami beyond imagination. Tatsuki froze, unable to move, as waves 3 times taller than those of the 2011 disaster surged toward the shore, dragging with them clouds of dust, vehicles, buildings, and millions of people. She could not recall how she breathed during the dream. All she knew was that after the wave passed, a new land began to rise. It surfaced slowly, as if an ancient being were awakening from a slumber that had lasted thousands of years. Wet soil churned upward, stone heaved into jagged forms, rugged, raw, and untouched. In that moment, Tatsuki knew with certainty. This new land would connect Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the Philippines into one continuous landmass. In chaos, most people think only of endings. But in Tatsuki's dream, the end carried a beginning. A new chapter humanity neither expected nor prepared for, yet could not refuse. And what made the dream all the more chilling was this. She had seen the exact date it would happen. 5 a.m., July 5th, 2025. She understood that many would doubt her. Some would laugh, dismissing it as superstition. But she also knew this. If even a small number of people among the millions who read her words believed and prepared, the losses might not be as catastrophic. To some, Tatsuki's vision seemed nothing more than an expression of excessive anxiety. But those who had followed her predictions since the 1970s understood one thing clearly: what she saw in her dreams should never be dismissed lightly. And so, the biggest question after the reissue of her book, especially with its stark warning about a new continent in 2025, was simple. Could such a thing actually happen? To many, the answer is surprising, yes. While the probability is low, it is theoretically possible. Japan lies within the Pacific Ring of Fire, a region where multiple tectonic plates converge and the highest density of underwater volcanoes in the world exists. These tectonic plates are not stationary. They shift inch by inch, year by year, generating earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and occasionally new land. In 2013, just 500 meters off the coast of Japan's Nishinoyama Island, an underwater volcano erupted quietly, creating a small island that had never appeared on maps. Within months, its area expanded and eventually merged with the main island, doubling Nishinoyama's size. Another case occurred in 2021 in the Kuril Islands, a contested region between Japan and Russia. An underwater volcano erupted unexpectedly, and when meteorologists arrived by helicopter, they discovered a newly formed island. These events, though modest, prove that Tatsuki's visions were not entirely implausible. Returning to her 2021 dream, the one with the two enormous dragons twisting beneath the sea, many researchers note a curious detail. The dragons' positions in Tatsuki's drawings closely align with the location of two major tectonic plates beneath the Pacific Ocean, the Philippine Sea Plate and the Pacific Plate. It is precisely at the intersection of these plates that underwater volcanic eruptions are most likely. And if conditions were right, such an eruption could indeed push the seafloor upward, forming entirely new stretches of land, just as Tatsuki had seen in her dream. If there is one dream that leaves Tatsuki waking up gasping for breath, not out of fear but because the sense of loss feels unbearably real, it is the dream she experienced in the late 1990s. She wrote about it in her journal, but only many years later did she confess that she had never been ready to share it with the world. Not because she feared disbelief, but because she was terrified people would be utterly powerless to act on it. In this dream, a resounding sound erupted from deep within the earth, so powerful that she felt her spine shudder even as she slept. It was a roar reminiscent of some ancient force, as if the very crust of the planet were cracking open somewhere. She awoke within the dream. The clock before her read exactly 5 o'clock, though she could not tell whether it was morning or afternoon. Stepping outside, she found that everything was no longer intact. Roads were shattered. Tall buildings had their lower floors torn away, as if an invisible hand had ripped whole blocks of concrete from the earth. Cars lay askew, canopies had collapsed, and power lines flickered like the remnants of a once thriving city. She saw a grand bridge spanning a river, but its far half was gone. Around her, there was no one. The street before her was desolate, and when she looked down, she realized she was no longer standing on solid ground. Before her and behind her stretched nothing but water. In the instant she awoke, she felt as though everything had ended. When Tatsuki reissued The Future I Saw, she added a note beneath this dream. I am not sure whether this scene depicts the 2011 earthquake or something far more horrifying. And I was still wearing a short-sleeved shirt, even though March in Japan is bitterly cold. That single detail, her wearing a short-sleeved shirt, sent shivers down many spines. The 2011 tsunami occurred during winter, yet her dream bore the elements of summer. And in 2025, the events she foresaw are indeed predicted to unfold during the summer season. You may not believe in dreams. You may even think the future is something no one can ever truly foresee. But if there is anything in this story that made you pause, even for a moment, feel free to share your thoughts below. I am always open to reading them and exploring with you the things that remain unexplained. And if you want to continue uncovering stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. I'll see you again in the next video.